You know that we are a very active member of United Nations, and with different United Nations institutions, we cooperate very successfully. And I'm glad that you are the Executive Director of United Nations Human Settlement Program, Habitat, visiting us. I know that you promote the values of equality, reduction of poverty, and urbanization. So you probably are aware about the figures with respect to reduction of poverty. We, I think, managed to successfully cope with this global disease, and the level of poverty in Azerbaijan is around 5%. Which demonstrates that we managed to use properly the revenues from energy sector to have an even distribution of the wealth. And of course, new opportunities with respect to economic reforms, employment will of course create a new picture in Azerbaijan, because our population is growing. Therefore, issues related to employment and, of course, poverty level, which is directly linked to that, are of special importance. I'm grateful that you visited the liberated territories. I know that you've been in Agdam and saw yourself the scope of devastation. And I can assure you that in all the liberated territories, the picture is the same. Total destruction, devastation, vandalism, barbarism, and as a result, Agdam do not exist. The city, which was a place for tens of thousands of people, now in ruins. And this was done by Armenians, by Armenian criminal regime during the years of occupation. Almost 30 years. It was a deliberate, planned demolition of our cities and villages, historical, religious monuments, in order to wipe off the traces of Azerbaijani culture and history. But our liberation war demonstrated that sooner or later justice will prevail. You must be patient. At the same time, you must be committed to your country, and you must work every day in order to achieve the goal. And our war was a liberation war. We put an end to occupation, put an end to forces of evil on our land. And probably you've been informed that Armenians also desecrated and destroyed our religious monuments. 65 mosques have been totally destroyed, and in 2 remaining they kept pigs and cows, insulting the feelings of all the Muslims of the world. Unfortunately, the international community was silent during all these years of occupation, though, as you know, United Nations Security Council and General Assembly and other international institutions, important international institutions, adopted resolutions and decisions supporting our position. There was no serious pressure on Armenia. No sanctions were imposed on Armenia. And even some countries tried to put on the same scale the aggressor and the victim of aggression. And that was one of the main reasons why Armenians kept these territories for so long. And if not for our courage and patriotism and force, this occupation would have continued, because it seemed to us that international organizations already adjusted themselves to this situation, Minsk group, as a group of strange tourists, was visiting us several times a year with these useless negotiations. And now it's clear that these negotiations was only a kind of a curtain behind which Armenia tried to seal the results of occupation. They were changing the names of our cities and villages. They were doing everything in order that the world forgets about occupation. But Azerbaijani people did not forget. None of us forgot, and all of us as one were ready to sacrifice our lives to liberate our historic motherland. And it happened. And now we have a big challenge in front of us. I'm sure you've been informed about our plans, and probably you've seen some already visible part of our reconstruction process. It's a huge task. So far, we did not receive any dollar of international assistance, neither from international organizations nor from any country of the world. All what we are doing at our own expense. And we will continue to do it, but of course it is strange that after almost 1.5 years after the liberation of the territories, no one is willing to help us. Only words, nothing more. No donor conference idea, no financial support. Even the famous non-governmental organizations, the famous international foundations, they turn a blind eye on what has happened in Karabakh and Zangezur. This is regrettable. We will reconstruct the territories and create, as I said, an example of heaven on earth in Karabakh and Zangezur. We will do it at any cost. But I think that this ignorance of international organizations, donor organizations, big foundations is unacceptable. We hope that United Nations will support us through its organizations and through its channels of communication, will deliver this important message that Azerbaijan needs to be supported. Your visit we consider as a sign of that support. I'm sure you will report about what you've seen there. Because one thing is to hear, to know, to read. Another thing when you come and see with your own eyes. And also, of course, it's important that the world knows about Armenian barbarism. This should be punished. We punished them during the war, the way that they will never forget. But there should be also international punishment for aggressor. And of course, the reparations. We demand reparations. We already hired international institutions, some lawyer groups, in order to help us to raise this issue in international arena. So these are the plans, and I think for the next year program we need to adjust in our cooperation this important new reality which created on the ground. The return of the internally displaced persons on the liberated territories is now not possible because of the landmines, and we already have, unfortunately, more than 200 people killed or severely injured because of the landmines, and also cleaning these mines needs a lot of expertise and technical capability. Also we need to create decent conditions for those who will go back and the process of start. So I'm sure that you will visit us again, because this is really a very important issue, I think, on global arena, and the way how we will reconstruct the territory, which is same size of the territory of Lebanon, I think will be a good example for other countries which suffer from occupation, devastation, and other serious problems. So we can be a model, I'm sure, for all other countries which are facing or faced the same problems we did. Once again, welcome and thank you for being with us.
Ölkəmizə ilk dəfə səfər etdiyini deyən BMT-nin Məskunlaşma Proqramının icraçı direktoru Maymuna Şərifi, Prezident İlham Əliyevin rəhbərliyi ilə Azərbaycandakı inkişaf proseslərinin, şəhər planlaşdırma və inkişaf konsepsiyasının onda dərin təəssürat hissi yaratdığını dedi. Azərbaycanda qədimliklə müasirliyin vəhdətinin şahidi olduğunu, tarixi binalar saxlanılmaqla müasir tikililərin ahəngdar formada inşa olunduğunu, şəhər planlaşdırılması və urbanizasiyanın tərkib hissəsi olan şəhər nəqliyyat sisteminin və yol infrastrukturunun müasirliyindən məmnunluğunu bildirdi. Azərbaycana səfərinin bir gününü Ağdam şəhərində keçirdiyini deyən BMT-nin Məskunlaşma Proqramının icraçı direktoru dövlətimizin başçısının rəhbərliyi ilə Azərbaycan hökuməti tərəfindən həyata keçirilən Ağdam şəhərinin inkişaf və urbanizasiya planı ilə yaxından tanış olduğunu qeyd etdi. Maymuna Şərifi Azərbaycanın məqsədinin Ağdamda daxil olmaqla işğaldan azad olunmuş ərazilərdə sıfır emissiyalı müasir ekoşəhər konsepsiyasının tətbiq edilməsi olmasını məmnunluqla vurğuladı. Bildirdi ki, BMT-nin Məskunlaşma Proqramı dünyanın müxtəlif ölkələrində post-münaqişə şəraitində şəhərlərin qurulmasında, dayanıqlı şəhər inkişaf konsepsiyalarının yaradılmasında təcrübəsi ilə dəstək verir və bu xüsusda Azərbaycan hökuməti ilə də sıx əməkdaşlığa hazırdır.